My first kiss, it was like the big first kiss. I was so excited, and it was horrible. I mean, awful. And I was like, I'm done. I'm never doing this again.
Not just the guy you're picking up kissing.
Oh yeah, it was.
Are you a good kisser? Probably everybody thinks so. But are you really? Well, I hope so, because a recent study found that people who are bad kissers tend to get dumped. My guests today are going to share their horror stories and their thoughts on the subject. Up first, Vanessa Van Petten, a writer on issues important to youth today, and Dr. Michael Lennox, a psychologist and interpreter of dreams. Great to have you both here today.
Thank you
Vanessa,
so much.
Dr.
Good
Lennox.
to be here.
Great.
So I just want to say mouthwash. What do you think? Do you recommend mouthwash in advance?
Yeah.
I highly recommend mouthwash.
And not too wet. You have to make sure to swallow first. Otherwise it gets really sloppy.
Yeah, yeah.
And flossing.
Flossing.
Flossing. I think people underestimate the power of plaque and odor.
You definitely want a nice, fresh taste when you.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. You think of it and you're like, ew.
But this study showed that about 59% of men and 66% of women said that they reevaluated dating somebody based on the kissing. Do you think that? Does that sound about right?
Absolutely. I think it's an enormous threshold. It is absolutely a portal that you walk through, that if you survive the first kiss, there's a possibility of a next date.
Especially for women. I mean, women, it's all about the kissing. I think men, maybe you guys can correct me, but, if it's a bad kiss, but she's still really hot, you're like, yeah, I can deal with it. Maybe she'll learn. But women, it's over, deal breaker.
And that's kind of what the study found that it was.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it bears out in the psychology of it. Men are using a kiss to sort of get to the next step of their sexual experience, whereas women are evaluating. They are taking in a whole sense, from the chemistry of the brain to the body language of the kiss.
So for the guys, the kiss is a means to an end, whereas for the women, it's actually, they're enjoying the experience.
Yeah, and we I could just kiss all day long. Whereas men, I think, are like, no, okay, we're bored with this. Like, move on.
So, have you ever dumped anybody or ended a relationship because of the way somebody kissed?
God,
my first kiss, it was like the big first kiss. I was so excited, and it was horrible. I mean, awful. And I was like, I'm done. I'm never doing this again.
Not just the guy you're picking up kissing.
Oh yeah, it was such a bad kiss that I was like, done kissing. This is an awful experience. I don't know why everyone likes it. And for a few months after that, movies.
A few months. You got over it.
I got a few months. It was only a few months.
Lifelong ban on kissing.
I was a teenager, so but I watched.
It's been a bad kiss.
It was a really bad kiss. And in movies, I was like, it's all a lie. It's so not true.
There's music in the movie, the movies sort of make it all, bring a lot to it that don't really exist in real life.
Yeah, there's no real violins.
My first kiss was way too long ago for me to remember. Though I do remember my first and my sort of second kiss, because there was the whole thing about, the mouth's opening or not.
Ah.
That was the big sort of discussion. I don't know, if kids today are still, if
well, I'm sorry, we're on the subject of kissing, so I have to ask you, do you prefer open mouth or not?
Well, absolutely. The whole thing changed for me from the closed mouth kiss, which was really boring, to the, once the mouth's open,
peck on the cheek or the lips, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's what the study said too, again, that the guys are more into like the whole mouth and tongue thing, and whereas women, what do you think? Is that?
I think everything in moderation, everything in balance is a good thing, a little closed kissing, a little open mouth kissing.
Right.
But anything that's too much, it's too much. And I also think a lot of it is about science, that don't you feel like there's like that buzz, euphoria when you first kiss someone? And actually I was reading that it's a scientific thing, that your brain is actually calculating the hormones and the pheromones in their saliva to see if, you're biologically going to make good babies together. So I think that kind of buzz you get after your first
DNA
kiss.
test there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I think you nailed it. It really is a DNA thing, and we're just beginning to learn about the neuroscience of the brain, period. And it really impacts everything that we do and everything that we choose and everything that we experience, from behavior to addictions and compulsions and attraction. And the brain works very, very fast, way faster than people give it credit for. And so there's something happening chemically that the saliva is telling each other.
Okay, there's definitely those moments where you really like someone, you think, okay, this person's great, I'm so attracted to them, and you kiss them and you're like, it was just bad. I don't know why. It was
disappointment or a letdown.
Off. And I think that is very much hormonal. It's very much what your brain is telling you. it's not right. This person is not the right science partner for you. And I think that's definitely true.
There's a whole psychology of a relationship, imago psychology, where the basis of attraction is thought to be connected to, healing old wounds, that we actually find each other, attractive based on, can you sort of, match and marry the wound that I have from my parental experience? And that may actually be connected to the chemistry as well, that who we are chemically oriented towards in a neural way could also be connected to behavior, and that the brain knows that at the first kiss way before the conscious mind does.
A chemical match.
So if it's a bad kiss, don't keep trying.
Don't keep trying. Just give it up. So dump them. See, I'm telling you, that's what the study says. You said before the show you're a good kisser.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And the reason I say that, though, is don't you think everybody thinks they're a good kisser, though? I mean, who thinks they're a bad kisser?
I think you're absolutely right. There's something really fascinating about that, and Vanessa and I were talking about that before we started the show, was what does a bad kisser think about themselves as a kisser? And I would think that everybody would have to come to, just to step up to the plate, you'd have to have some level of confidence.
Yeah, or you never would kiss anyone.
So how do you know if you're a bad kisser?
I don't think you actually can.
I don't think you know either.
Well, I guess if the other person dumps you, that's probably one way, right? Right after that kiss.
And absolutely, and of course,
gag or something
in my field, I sometimes will work with people who are actually in a couple and are having issues, and there are skills that people can learn about how to communicate what someone else is doing in the bedroom or in the, on the sofa or in the car, wherever kissing is happening.
So would you tell somebody you're a bad kisser, or you need to work on that?
I think that's what's really interesting, is I think that you don't get that far. I think when the kissing is that incompatible. No, I'm saying that if the kissing is that incompatible, it's early on in a dating connection. If the kissing is just incompatible, you're not going to get to that third or fourth date to be in a relationship. So we're going to make an assumption that if I'm talking to some couple, that they've got some history together, that they've been together for a little while, that they made it past that first bad kiss, don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, you dumped that first guy.
I guess they've made it past it. Yeah, that's true.
And the second kiss was good, right?
Yeah, but what if they were together and then they decided they wanted more spark in their life? I feel like, especially for women, you start off really nervous in relationships, and maybe you're closed mouth, you don't want to kiss anyone, you don't want to put yourself out there, and then as the relationship goes on, you go, I kind of want more fireworks, I want to try something different, and I think that a lot of people, they say, oh, there's different kinds of kisses, not just, French versus regular, but, that you can kiss the upper lip or, kiss the neck, and I think that a lot of the time women are afraid of that at first, and then they evolve to demand more. So maybe.
Well, you're absolutely talking about something that comes up in sex therapy, which is to teach people how to learn their own sort of arousal system and shift and change things up, mix things up a little bit. And I think that also comes back to men and women and the distinction between the arousal process. For men, it's very fast. For women, it's much slower.
We're running out of time, but what percentage of people do you think are good kissers? I'm not, based on personal experience.
I'm trying to think, my own little
is it rare?
Lifelong research project. I would say 40%.
I would say 100, because I think, yes, because I think that everyone can learn to be a good kisser.
So they can learn.
Yeah, and so I think that's 100%.
What percentage of people need to learn?
maybe 60.
So we've got hope on your side.
Yeah, I'm hopeful.
We will be right back. Joining me now are Jeffrey Beck and Christina Lindley, two fitness models. Great to have you guys back today.
Thank you.
Great to be back, Greg.
So I know you heard some of that, but I'm just going to start with the basic hygiene at the beginning. What do you think about the whole mouthwash thing? Would that be an improvement?
Yeah, well, if a girl wants to kiss me, I don't ask questions, basically, so.
That's a good mentality.
So he's okay. Well, again, the study said guys don't care. Okay, so hey, forget the mouthwash then. Okay.
I think good hygiene definitely will benefit you if you're wanting to be a good kisser. Absolutely.
And what percentage? If we're going for the horror stories, I guess here first. Have you had any really awful kisses that you prefer not to remember? What will we happy to tell us about today?
Unfortunately, it's funny, but I think that the awful kisses are more memorable than the fabulous ones.
Well, that's sad.
I know.
That's sad.
It is sad.
Traumatic, though, right?
Exactly. They're so traumatic. I would venture to say, based on my experience, that 20% of the people out there are good kissers. And I was laughing.
20%.
I was laughing when you were saying, you know, how do bad kissers know when they're bad kissers?
Yeah.
And I was thinking there should be, you know, there's like dating online
A manual
dating,
or
maybe
something? Yeah.
badkissers.com or something, you know.
You could do that for your advice call of.
Well, because if they're all bad, then they'll meet each other and help each other out.
So
I don't know.
a lot of bad kissers may be dating bad kissers and don't know they're bad kissers
Exactly.
because
Yeah,
they,
I don't know. It's a theory.
Yeah, I don't think people know they're bad kissers, honestly. I may be a horrible kisser, but nobody's ever told me, so
Nobody's ever told you.
Of course, my mom says I look like Brad Pitt, and everybody else may think I look like Steve Buscemi, so I have no idea.
Do you want to guess on percentages? Or
Oh,
again,
boy. Percentage-wise, I think maybe 40% are bad kissers.
Oh, so you were actually the most generous when you said, what, 20%, right? Because everybody else said 40%.
Well, no, I think 20% of people are good
Oh, you said good kissers, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, she's so 80%. Yeah.
I'm the
okay,
least
gotcha.
generous, I think.
Okay, ooh.
Well, in my experience, it's been about 50-50. I've had girlfriends who were horrible and girlfriends
But they
who were
got
really
to be your
good.
girlfriends. Like you actually continued to date them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I mean, see?
Men don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they
That's
do,
what the study
but
said.
they're- why did they make it past the bad kiss? Like they were just hot, or?
Well, no, there are other qualities. I mean, some of them have great personality, and we just clicked and had great
It's always great
chemistry,
personality,
so-
you know?
Right.
Yeah, it is, so.
In that case, did you teach them though how to be a good kisser, or?
Well, I generally didn't mention that part because.
Right.
So would you dump somebody if they were a bad kisser? Or not continue to date them, however you want to phrase it?
Well,
I guess you wouldn't, right? But I guess you would. Is that what it comes down to?
Well, I think like they were saying with me personally, if I was on a date with somebody and, you know, it's in the beginning stages of dating, if it was a bad kiss, it is a deal breaker. I can't get past that because it's so huge for me. It's such a, you know, connection. I don't know. I mean, you look in someone's eyes and you kiss them, and if you can't enjoy that, then how are you going to
If you're kind of cringing every time you go to kiss, that would be
If it's
a
traumatic,
problem.
how are you going to move on from that, you know?
yeah, and it'll put a huge strain on a sexual relationship as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's something that's.
For women, it gives you the concept, wow, is that what I have to look forward to?
It's going to be a long marriage,
Yeah.
long marriage. Would you tell somebody? I mean, maybe if it's
I
like,
have before.
Oh, you have?
And it was one time with as an adult with another older, you know, guy, and it was just because he was really, really cocky and he thought he was great at everything, and I felt comfortable telling him, "Wow,
You can't even kiss.
I was
either.
like, oh, yeah, I mean, I was really nice about it, but I was like, ooh, let me try.
So what did you say? How did you approach this?
I said that. I literally said, well, why don't let me kiss you? I think that was the terminology.
Let me show you how to do it? Is
Or
that
I just said, let me kiss you. And he was like, oh, okay. And I don't know, but even beyond
You don't
that,
think he caught on?
I don't think so. Yeah, there's no.
We know you're pretty flexible, Jeff, but would you
Yeah.
tell anybody that they're a
well-
bad kisser? Or?
I was spoiled, basically, my first time. I lost my
Oh.
virgin lips in the movie theater. And she was an awesome kisser. I mean, we stayed together for a couple years. See, I can commit, despite what most women think. But it was awesome. But, I mean, she set the bar so high that all the other kisses
So
just
your
didn't-
first kiss was the best kiss, huh? Is that it?
Yeah, you never forget your first
first
kiss.
kiss.
And it was definitely seemed like the best one.
Well, I don't often ask people this, but I'm sorry, it's a show on kissing. Open or closed mouth, or what's your preferred technique? I don't know.
Go ahead.
Well, I prefer. Well, I like open mouth.
Mouth.
It's more passionate and.
I mean, if you're actually been dating someone for a while, I definitely think French kissing is more passionate, you know. But for a first kiss, I think maybe just pop kiss or
And-
closed mouth. Yeah.
And I was reading the study note some of the varieties of like the vacuum method. And
Vacuum.
Right. Did you ever,
What do you mean the vacuum method?
well, it was something about, I don't know, I guess you just kiss and then like suck the air out is what they said, like a vacuum cleaner. Like, I don't know. I just tell you what I read.
Is
I
that
don't
like
know.
a bad kisser, like with the?
Well,
the
that was for
slobbering
variety. It was
ones,
supposed
or-
to be a good. They had a few different
a good
varieties,
one.
like the neck kiss and the.
I don't think I've ever had the vacuum kiss. I don't know how
had
many.
that happen to me. It'd scare the
So you haven't
crap.
gone into the exotic kisses.
Oh, I guess not. I'm learning new things today.
You know, they have whole classes on that though.
They do. Are you the teacher, Greg?
No. I talked to the guy who is, but he was in New York and couldn't make it. So.
Okay.
Well, so what advice do you have for people then for kissing in a relationship? Any final thoughts on?
I mean, I think that communication is key, and like you're talking about earlier, some people prefer like long, lingering kisses, and others more passionate and grabbing your face and pulling you. And I definitely think that sharing with your partner what you enjoy prior to it actually happening. That way, in their mind, if they were planning something that you don't particularly enjoy, they might leave it off the roster. So. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, like you don't want to throw in some crazy voice like Ray Romano on the first date, like, hey, let's kiss, let's use the tongue. You don't want to throw somebody off like that, but I think that...
what would your reaction be to that?
I don't know.
Is Ray Romano hot? I don't know.
Yeah, is Ray Romano? I should have used Barry White.
It's funny.
Well, we will be right back. And we are back with Christina, Lindley, and Dr. Lennox. So during the break, you were telling us you're going to educate us on what the vacuum kiss is.
I'm going to clear up this sucky breath vacuum thing. This is a tantric technique. And if you've ever done yoga, where what's asked for is this ujjayi breath. It's a way of breathing through the throat. It's kind of like taking the breath, sort of mixing it halfway between the nose and the mouth at the same time. It's what you do in yoga. And if you do it with a partner in the act of sex, as a part of tantric sex, it's very erotic and very arousing.
Could definitely make yoga more interesting.
Absolutely. But it's definitely not something for a dating experience. This is when a couple is settled and know each other and want to explore sexuality.
So maybe using your hand or something. Can you explain to us what exactly this is?
Well, I can make the sound for you.
Okay, well, we'll take the sound. Oh, so it's... Oh, and it just keeps going.
Yeah, and when you connect the mouth, I know it's a little bizarre. What happens when you're doing that is that you're expanding the experience of breath from just air into the lungs and taking in oxygen, and the breath as energy through the body. And that's why you do it in yoga.
Today, I think. Thank you very much.
When you do it in sexuality, because basically all that sex is like a yoga pose that two people do together. And it's aligning the energy. That's why it's so fun to do.
Well, you have an interesting perspective with your acting. For one thing, I'm curious because I'm assuming you've had to kiss a guy for a part?
I have, yes.
How does that go?
Well, it's very interesting. It's really different than obviously in real life, because obviously everyone knows you're going to kiss this person, and they set up the whole scene and there's a room full of people, and I mean it's really nerve-wracking even if there is a chemistry there. It's very much...
Sometimes there is a chemistry?
Well, it just depends on the person, and even within a chemistry, it's as friends or as, co-workers and professional one to another, and you see films...
But have you ever thought, I'm sorry, we're getting really personal here today, but when you're kissing somebody, you ever think, this could be more than a co-worker, this could be a date?
I haven't personally with anyone that I've worked with on a set, but obviously it happens all the time. Look at Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. I mean, yeah, so...
And have you gotten the other thought and thought, oh God, no, I'd never date this guy?
I have had that happen before, yes.
Oh, wow.
One time, yeah.
And was it somebody who you otherwise might have thought you could, like physically, was hot or something, but when you kissed
it was I just knew kind of right away that it was definitely like a friendship type chemistry that I would have had I met them on the street, say.
Well, you mentioned earlier during the break some of the kind of the pressure that maybe TV or the movies puts on us about what is good kissing and all that. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I definitely think that we grow up, especially in America, watching these idealized versions of what a love making or a love scene should be.
The media tells us what to expect from our partners in our relationships, and life does not match it at all.
I mean, I think it can, but at the same time, I think, little kids come up watching, all these different things on film and television, and then you grow up, and when, like she had said, you have your first kiss, and the other person's...
The music doesn't come in, or
there's no fireworks, but on occasion, I think that if you meet the right person, then you can have a similar experience that may or may not be, with
I actually absolutely agree completely. And what you're talking about is intimacy between two people based on communication, based on knowing what the other person's expectations are, and then meeting them.
Sure.
Well, I know you're a leading expert on dream interpretation.
Yes, indeed.
What if you have a dream about I don't know, let's say a bad kiss?
Happens all the time. And so then we have to go into what kissing is symbolically, and it's about integration. It's about coming together two different energies. So in a dream, it'd be about who you're kissing, but it's not a romantic gesture necessarily. It's about communication or nurturance and sustenance. So you might dream of kissing a coworker that you would never want to kiss, but they might have a personality quality that would be helpful to you in that point in your life, that if you could integrate their style of communication into your own, you might experience that as a dream of having
like
a kiss with
business
them.
networking in a kind of way?
Kind of, maybe. You know, like someone who's about to do a proposal at work and is nervous about it, and their coworker who's very confident in this kind of public speaking arena. They might have a dream of kissing the confident public speaker as a way of processing their anxiety about something that was happening in their life, and it was coming out symbolically as the communication center, the mouth.
That kind of brings up an interesting topic, because of the way you're describing it, it's almost as if you're attracted to a quality that you lack. And I've always said that to my girlfriends, that you're attracted to qualities in other people that you lack in yourself. Is there any merit to that,
absolutely.
do you think?
Absolutely. That we are, when we come together in a couple, we are seeking to create some sense of a wholeness. And that, you know, when someone is very, very attracted to that which is like them, we call that narcissistic. And that's kind of like, you know, that can go as far as disorder.
So does it mean if you're looking for a good kisser that you're a bad kisser?
I don't know. You'll have to ask your dating partners, Gregory.
Now you were so about the dreams. Is there anything more about that? Was a good kiss? I guess if you have what if you do have
Well, sure. I think then you would start with the same sense of symbolic interpretation of needing to take in or reject some other energy and how you feel about that. If it's a good kissing experience, then it's something of a positive, nurturing, notion. If it's something that's very bad, you might be dealing with feelings of either rejecting a quality or having too much of a quality overwhelm you, or something in your life that was uncomfortable.
Well, since I know you're from the South, and we still think of the South as, the down-home country kind of.
Southern Belle, Bible Belt kind of.
Yeah. Is there a difference with, I don't know, the outlook on kissing there, or what people, the way are they better kissers, worse? And I don't know.
Well, I definitely think that in my personal experience in the South, it's much more, you don't kiss on the first date, and it's definitely more looked at as a something to be looked forward to. And I kind of feel like on the East or on the West Coast, it's kind of like, oh, we're kissing, cool, whatever, So maybe in that regard.
So it's a little freer out here, or less of a big deal.
Yeah, a little less of a big deal here than,
Like there, you're getting married if you kiss, but here it's kind of like.
There you kiss and you might get pregnant. Obviously not, but yeah.
And I'm talking about the speed too. I mean, this is something about that Southern way of life is slower.
I think, in the South, as far as physically in relationships. I mean, that's just been my personal experience. And obviously there's differentiations in both areas, but that's been my experience.
Yeah, so you definitely don't start out with the open mouth kissing then.
No.
I think that anything is better slowed down. I think everything in our lives are experienced as so fast and kinetic and frantic and chaotic that any decision that's made with a little bit of waiting is going to be a more informed decision and a more exciting one if it's
more enjoyable too. Because if you there's that tension there. I think that if you wait like for the second date, then absolutely you can enjoy it more. Something to look forward to.
And you know more. You have more information, so the decisions you're making are based on, a little bit more information.
Do you think that could affect your perception of somebody's kiss? That if you've been dating him longer, maybe you think he or she, or is
well, how about just comfort level?
Right.
Comfort level. You got to be comfortable to do anything well. I think you have to be relaxed, and if you're a little on edge, you're likely to make a mistake or go a little too fast or do something a little awkward. You have a little bit more comfort with somebody, you're likely to go a little slower. Good kissing is a communication. You move a little, I move a little, you move a little, I move a little. If you're really listening to each other with your mouths, a good kiss is going to evolve.
Sing with your mouth.
That's right, you can talk with them too, can't you? That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Guide a little.
Multi-purpose.
Well, since I know you mentioned sex therapy earlier, which I believe, as a psychologist, we're running out of time here, but in our final minute, if for maybe couples who are having problems, I mean, is there a way
sure.
that you
Expectation, have like you said, someone said about kissing, wanting, being able to kiss all day. I think it was Vanessa had said something about that.
No,
I can too,
she did.
definitely.
Yeah, and so I think that's one piece of advice to any couple that's having some, sexual issues would be to take the expectation off, go back to the kissing, and
Or
just have
just
that be the
to bring
purpose.
back in the romance.
Yeah,
you know?
intimacy.
Yeah.
Take away the goal at the end of the sexual experience.
All right. Well, I hope you guys learned something today. Better work on that kissing. Thank you very much for being here, Christina Lindley and Dr. Michael Lennox. I'd also like to thank Vanessa Van Petten and Jeffrey Beck. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time.